If you've been in a calorie deficit for 4 weeks, but it's not working, one of two things is most likely happening. The first thing is that you're not actually in a calorie deficit. And the second is that you've been in a calorie deficit for so long that your body has adjusted, and this is called metabolic adaptation. So let's dive into the first one first. And this is probably the most common thing that I see. We are using our smartwatches as an indication of how many calories we're burning per day, and we know from medical studies that smartwatches are inaccurate when they estimate calorie burn 85% of the time. So even the best watch, the most expensive watch out there, doesn't do this very well. That's partly because the technology is just not where we need it to be. It's also because a lot of the logic in these devices are for men, and if you're listening, you're probably a woman, but it's also just simply because these sensors aren't in enough places on your body. So even if the sensor on your wrist is really good, you actually need more than one sensor to properly determine calorie burn, which is why if you were a professional athlete and you went to like a lab, they wouldn't just have a smartwatch on you, they'd have a VO2 max on you, they'd have a heart rate monitor across your chest, etc. So first mistake is you're not actually in a deficit because you're either one, overestimating your calorie burn and then eating to make up for it, or two, you're not accurately tracking your food consumption. So I see this a lot in that we kind of eat the same foods on repeat and we don't think, I don't have to weigh out my oats every morning, I always get a cup. Unfortunately, the more petite you are, the more precise you might have to be. And sure, a cup is a cup, but if you're actually weighing out the cup, you will see that one day you might, I'm making it up, have 200 grams of oats, another day you might have 175 grams of oats, and that in and of itself is not that big of a deal. But what is a big deal is that compounded right across every single food that you're consuming that you're not consistently weighing, right? That could be the difference between 200 to 300 different calories a day, and that obviously is not what we want, because even an extra 50 calories can take us out of a deficit. So the last piece of this is that you're overestimating the intensity of your workouts, and or you're not taking the same amount of steps every day. So this is another thing I also hear. We have the same routine. We walk to work, we walk to the gym, we walk to, we walk our dog, and we assume that we're basically getting the same amount of steps a day. But if you were actually tracking, it could be the difference between some days getting 6,000 steps and maybe other days getting upwards of 10,000, like maybe on the weekend. So that can all correlate into not actually being in a calorie deficit, because we're overestimating activity, we're underestimating food, or honestly the opposite. The second side of the coin is that you have been dieting or trying to lose fat for so long that now your body has acclimated. So what used to be dieting calories for you is now your maintenance calories. And I get a lot of comments about this, but when we look at the literature, this is what happens, because your body is smart. Your body is so much freaking smarter than you give it credit for. And it's not an issue of thermodynamics, it's an issue of your body not having enough calories to do everything it needs to do to keep you alive. So what does it do? It gets rid of the most expensive tissue to make this possible. What tissue is that? That tissue is muscle. If you eat 1,200 calories for a few weeks, you tank your calories, you will lose weight. If you were, otherwise eating 2,000, you will lose weight super, super fast. But you know what you're going to lose? You're going to lose muscle, because your body goes from having enough calories to support your daily functions, to support digestion, to support all the things that you want to do, to support me doing this and going to the gym and all that. And then you take all that extra, you take that away. And your body basically still needs to function with much fewer calories available to it. So that means it's going to get rid of the most expensive tissue, and the most expensive tissue is muscle. Now, at a certain point, you will stop losing muscle, and I'm not saying that dieting means you only lose muscle. I'm saying super aggressive, super long-term diets, we lose muscle, and basically what can happen is that our body fat percentage actually goes up because all we lose is muscle. So let's say that wasn't the case, no drama at all. Let's say you dieted properly, safely for 12 weeks, but then you just kept your calories super low. Maybe you lost some fat, good, great, right? But then you kept your calories super low, maybe intentionally, maybe not. And now you look at the calendar, it's been 20 weeks of you eating 1,300 calories, and now you feel like every time you start to eat more than that, you start to gain weight. So what's happening? What could be happening is that your body got used to that 1300 calorie level, and now actually every time you're eating a bit more than that, what's happening is you're holding a bit more water, you're holding a bit more, maybe you're bloating a bit, maybe you're not pooping as regularly. And this could be because your body finally has more calories to put towards more functionality, or it can literally just be because you're not recovering, you're overtraining, or honestly you're just a human, because water and sodium levels fluctuate when we're humans. That's just how it goes. But I see this a lot, and it's not actually that you can't eat more than 1,300 calories and not gain weight. It's that you need to have a proper reverse dieting strategy to help you get over this hurdle, and you also need to make sure that you're tracking super carefully and you're reaching for single ingredient whole foods, you're not drinking alcohol, you're getting enough rest, etc. So there is no one single input that can go into addressing both of these issues. As you hopefully understand by now, they are more complicated and more nuanced than just one single thing. Most of us are usually doing a few things that are keeping us from our goal, and that's not a bad thing. That's just how it goes. So if you have questions on this, if you want my help, I've helped thousands of women and I would love to speak with you and help you as well. Head to my bio and set up a Zoom consult. We'll spend 30 minutes going over everything you're currently doing. You're going to send me information before so I can be fully prepped for our time and not spend the whole 30 minutes like catching up on your history. You send me everything. I come to that meeting fully prepared and we make you a plan for the next 10 to 12 weeks. Now, this is not a replacement for one-on-one coaching. This is just a way to help get you started or back in the right direction. But if you are obviously interested in one-on-one coaching, which is my most exclusive and most highest touch programming, then you can also learn about that in my bio. We are always looking for amazing women to join the team, and if you are seriously committed to reaching your goals, I would love to meet you. I would love to work with you. So I hope that makes sense. If you're not seeing results and you feel like you're being patient enough, right? 2 to 4 weeks is patient enough, then you have to evaluate what you're doing and be super realistic about what you're doing really will serve you, and or if the plan you've made really is right for you. So I hope that helps. Have a great day.